I'm actually a little bit impressed with the kids. They said last night they wanted to sleep outside, so they took the light from the chickens. I see it ended up here now, and made a fire. And now they just fall asleep everywhere. They Last night before I went to bed, I came and checked on them, and most of them were still sleeping on here. I see there's still one sleeping there. Looks like two migrated home. There is a dog up there. Môre Vika. Now I remember the first time I slept outside. It wasn't intentional. We had a house outside on a farm, and then one night I said to my parents I wanted to go look at the stars. So I took my blankets and stuff out, laid outside. We grew up without a TV, so looking at the stars was a nice thing to do. Threw my blanket outside, laid on the lawn, and looked at the stars. And then I woke up the next morning. My parents decided, well, he's old enough. I was probably like them, 8 or 9. Maybe, yeah, 8 or 9. And so they just left me. And I woke up there the next morning, and that was the beginning of a big love affair of sleeping outside. And yeah, we ended up, I think I probably spent more time sleeping under the stars after that than I spent sleeping in my own house. Took the horses out, tied them to a tree, and slept outside. Mostly with friends though, not as much alone. But we did spend a lot of time playing with fire and sleeping outside. So I was afraid, and I'm still a little bit afraid, that the lushness of the swale will actually harm the trees that we planted here. There was hundreds of little moringa trees growing, and I can't seem to find them. I didn't want to trim out the grass because the main idea, the swale, let me just walk around it quickly. The main idea of the swale was to, well, of the planting the swale was just to get some roots in the ground. And so this is what the swale looks like. There is roots in the ground, that's for sure. And it does keep a lot of moisture. We haven't watered for about 10 days, and that's quite impressive. In the heat, I only watered again last night, and everything actually does very well. I found some leucaena between the grasses earlier. I can't find them now. As you can see, there is cowpeas growing between the grass. Pumpkins are taking over the world. I think we do actually have some pumpkins up already as well. You can see there they are coming along nicely. In any case, okay, so let's get back. The corn patch doing interesting things. Higher in the middle, lower on the sides. I can't see a clear difference between me and Lucas's growth. However, actually you can see this is Lucas, and that is the area that was mulched. So I think there is a difference. We're planting a whole variety of store-bought beans, like shopping beans. Wys gou vir my. So this is a red speckly one, and then there's some green beans in there as well. We're putting it on one corn stalk, skipping 2, and then putting 1 again, skipping 2, like that. We waited a little bit for the corn to be a little bit longer so that the beans won't be able to overwhelm them, and we'll see how that goes. We're thinking of putting squash in as well, but I'm scared the squash then kills the beans. So let's check moisture levels quickly. So you can see this is nicely mulched, not a termite inside, which is nice. This is an unmulched part, completely dry. Let's move here. Okay, even the mulch is also dry. Okay, so the moisture levels are quite low in any case, and you can't get your fingers in deeper than that. There you get some moisture below the mulch. There. There's some popping up. Yeah, that take a bit of time. Let's check. Here is organic matter. Remove that. Termites. Somebody said there's a specific ant that I can introduce. There's obviously some wild animals that eat termites here in Namibia, but we don't have any of them on our land. That might be the reason why we have so many. But Matabella ant that also eats termites. So it seems like I might have to get into the smaller things of permaculture first to see if I cannot restore balance. Yeah. Every now and then we get a couple bottles from town. Well, I collect them from people, and so Emmanuel will be hosting a workshop on how to make quinoa bottles for planting seeds, planting bottles. So we left the bottom of the, let me show you quickly. Sorry, let me turn around. Kindertjies, wag gou, pause for a moment, just for the sound. Okay, so you take a bottle like this and cut the top off, and then you make the holes about there, just so the roots doesn't come out the top. If the roots want to get out the top, then they sort of air prune themselves. So there's always a little bit of moisture below, but not enough to cause any root rot, especially not in our climate. And the quinoa seem to like it. Keep them in there for 4 to 6 weeks, and then we plant them. We have a couple of hundreds in bottles, but ideally I want to plant thousands over the farm to create lots and lots of biomass. It is a nitrogen fixer and creates probably, I think, in our climate, the best biomass creator that you can have here. So in today's video I also didn't use anybody's coffee money, but I did want to thank them in any case. I'll use that soon, and then you'll see that in the videos. You can just check your names below, everybody that contributed. I really do appreciate it. I wanted to show you the worms, update on the worms quickly. Let me just open here. So yesterday we threw in there, and then over there was a puddle. I hope I don't step on anything now. Over there was a puddle yesterday. Now I understand people feel worms don't need puddles. It's true, they really don't. That puddle has dried up. The water has either evaporated or gone into the rest of the pile. These worms they'll probably still be around here, and then as soon as it cools down, they'll start moving into those areas there. Now that puddle helps keep the pile moist. Let me just close this up again quickly. It keeps the pile moist. It allows me to water less often. Now that is much lower than that, for instance, or even this, or even that. And the worms, if there is a puddle, the worms will simply migrate up, and then if the moisture becomes low, they'll migrate down again. That is the logic behind it. If you have a small overhead sprinkler and you can water often, then you can do it softly. You can have the perfect moisture for a worm pile. Now don't do this while there's worms in it, but if you take some of the bedding and you squish, and there's just a little drop forming below your hand, that is the perfect moisture. But overwatering a little bit won't kill them. Underwatering is much worse. Overwatering a whole bin like that, they will find a dry spot, and then in our temperature there will always be a spot that's just perfect for them. The other place that I wanted to give you an update to quickly is okay, so this is where we ripped and planted. Obviously nothing grows because we had no rain. That was all seed mix. This is the traditional plant pits that was planted. They plant things traditionally. There is beans coming up, but they are struggling. If we don't get rain soon, we'll have a problem. I feel like I should probably water them, but I also want to see if this can work dry land. This one, for some or other reason, is doing fantastically. There's some doing great, and then some doing not so great. corn that we planted, they all basically not performing. My idea was to plant the whole place of corn, and then everything that grows. Now, with the rain predictions, we had much better rain predicted than what we are getting. We should have had, even if it was a small follow-up rain, we should have had some of that. We didn't, so the corn could have worked, but I don't think it's going to at all. But this works fantastically. This got water only once. And this is our different grass species in zai pits, planting pits that's been dug out a little bit. You can see there. The interesting thing about these ones is first of all, only once, rained only once, got up, grew, no problem. The birds for some reason didn't bother them, didn't scratch them out, none of that. Both the peas, the cowpeas and the corn get scratched. The grass species doesn't get scratched, which is fantastic. So this might be something to do on more desolated places on the farm. You can see there was a mix as well, cowpeas between them, and for some reason the peas that's between the that we threw between the grass species didn't get scratched either. The peas that was planted the traditional way, a little bit shallower pits, they got scratched out. So that's just an interesting observation. Right, I think that is the end. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.